expertise in navigating the home buying process. We value the experience of our agents at Boston Connect Real Estate so much. Not only will you hear my perspective on real estate topics, occasionally you will hear the expert thoughts and opinions of our experienced agents at Boston Connect Real Estate. Be a part of our roundtable. If you have any questions during the show, please call 781-837-4900. We'd love to talk real estate. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and wherever you like to listen to podcasts at Talk Real Estate Roundtable. If you would like a one-on-one consultation with me and my team to discuss your real estate needs, you can connect with me at bostonconnect.com or 781-826-8000. Now, sit back, relax, take good notes, and let's talk real estate.
And hello to all my South Shore neighbors. You are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. My name is Melissa Wallace, and I have a co-host tonight who is a full-time realtor here at Boston Connect Real Estate, Emmie Flaherty.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. You've been on the show a couple times.
I have.
I don't know if I've done the show with you, though, because I think maybe both times. I think you've been on twice, right?
Yep.
I think both times you did it with Sharon.
Yeah.
And now you buckle up because you're with me.
All right, I'm in for it.
It could go off the rails pretty quickly when it comes to me hosting the show, but we're gonna try to stay on topic, right?
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Emmie, why don't you introduce yourself to all of our listeners who might not have caught your first two shows with us?
Awesome. Well, I am Emmie Flaherty. I am a full-time real estate agent here at Boston Connect. I live and work in Pembroke, so I love when I hear from Pembroke people. But I serve the entire South Shore, whether you're buying, selling, or investing. And side note, I'm an equine enthusiast, so I often get people who come to me to help them find farms or sell farms. So I'm here for all of your real estate needs. My phone number is 781-217-4580.
You're like a pro.
I try.
Yeah, I don't even have to tell you, like, okay, give your phone number. You're like a
Right?
pro now.
Yes. Well, I'm used to Sharon being like,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I always do the hand motion, and if
Yes.
you are on Facebook, we're live on Facebook too, so be sure to follow Boston Connect Real Estate and all of the Connect pages, whatever. But I always go like this in a circular motion, and
Yes.
people think that I'm like saying, wrap it up, nobody
Right,
cares.
right.
But that's not what I'm saying.
No,
I'm saying,
you
repeat
need
it,
this, right?
repeat it, and again. So, yeah, and then we'll give your contact information again at the end of the show. But, yeah, so I've been talking about this a few times in the past couple of shows that I've done, and a lot of the times our topics come up during our roundtable discussions. And last week we did have a roundtable discussion, which we do them every Tuesday. But we also had like a debrief meeting. Some of our agents, including yourself, had done like an ice cream social for some of your clients. And I was a part of sort of the debrief. And we always like to improve if we need some improvement or what went well. And, you know, and we already have our ice cream social
We do.
scheduled for next summer. So if you are one of Emmie's clients,
right.
hopefully within the next year, you'll be invited. But yeah, so when we were in the meeting, somehow the show came up, and it was like everyone was like, "Yeah, I'll do a show. Yeah, I'll do a show. Yeah, yeah." So now I have pretty much every single week covered until the end of the year, and it used to be like pulling teeth trying to get the agents here on, because they'd be like, "I don't know what to say. I don't know what to talk
Well,
about."
it's so fun. I mean,
It is.
I tell you all the time, I'd be here every week. I mean, there's several of us. That
Well,
work
you
in
are
this
signed up
office,
for quite a
but-
few, so
but I love it. I don't know. It's fun to sit here and talk real estate, and we really love it when you call in.
yeah,
So,
yeah. So if you want to talk to us, even if you just want to say hi, you can talk real estate, you can talk anything, horses with Emmie. 781-837-4900 is the number to George in the studio, and he'll get you right over to us. But
Right.
if you are a little nervous and don't want to join us on the show, you can comment on Facebook. I have you up, so join in on the discussion. But back to our meeting the other day, we just sort of were like, yeah, I'll take this date. Yeah, I'll take this date. I'm like, hold on, I have to write all of this down. I'm like, well, who's coming on? Okay, now we're going to talk about this. But something that I like to do is I like to encourage the other agents that are joining me on the show to sort of either come up with the topic or definitely just give their I don't even know what it is, opinion side, perspective, whatever, on whatever topic that we're talking about. But you did come up with the topic tonight. So why don't you sort of introduce our topic to all of our listeners?
Absolutely. So, I mean, I don't like to be the bearer of bad news here, but summer is wrapping up, folks. So, one of the questions we often get asked as realtors is, what are you thinking or what are you seeing or hearing out there for upcoming markets? And for us, fall and spring are very busy.
Yeah.
So today's topic is the fall market, important updates for buyers and sellers.
Yeah. And Sharon always says like the spring market starts like the Monday after Super Bowl. So like the first or second week in February. When do you think that the fall market actually starts? Because I don't think it actually starts and I wish I had this down. If anybody knows the first day of fall.
Oh, I'm one of those people. It's the 22nd
of September. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's my Nana's birthday. September 22nd. Okay, yeah. So first day of fall is September 22nd. Do you think that the fall market starts before that?
I do.
Yeah.
I feel like I mean, I have a mom background, so so I'm also a mom. But I feel like once Labor Day hits, it's like full speed ahead. You hear everybody say like, well, right after Labor Day or after Labor Day. Everything's after Labor Day.
Yeah, you can't wear white after Labor Day. Well,
right.
For those of us who don't ever wear white,
I know.
It doesn't really matter.
That's a red flag for
that's a red flag.
No.
Yeah, I feel like the market, like we call it spring market, we call it fall market, but I don't think it has anything to actually do with when the weather's changing. It's more like, okay, well, we just have a name for it. I feel like we need to change the name though, and we'll come up with something witty.
After Labor Day market.
After Labor Day market. After Labor Day sale.
Yeah, exactly. It's true though. I mean, like, this past weekend, people were like, "Oh, I'll get back to me in a couple weeks," and like, that made total sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll get back to you.
I'll get
after
back to you.
Labor Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people said that to you, or you were saying that to people?
No, I wouldn't say that to people. If
I'd be like, "Hi, I'm calling you right now.
Right here.
I'm on the phone.
But,
do you need me?"
Right. I know, but no. And truthfully, people say I'm just, here we are, middle of August, end of August. I'm just going to enjoy literally the end of August, and I'll talk to me after Labor Day.
Yeah, I literally just said to Julia today, I said, I cannot believe that September 1st is Friday.
I know.
What's happening here?
I know.
And then she goes, yeah, it's going to be Christmas before we know it.
I know.
And I'm like, all right, Julia, pump the brakes.
I know.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about fall market, so important updates for both buyers and sellers. Are you I feel like you have a good mix of representing buyers and representing sellers, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
So you've been with us for almost a year now.
I know.
Just about. I think I brought that up the other day. I'm like, it's almost your anniversary. But yeah, you've been with us for almost a year, but you were somewhere else before, so you're not brand new here. And I feel like you've been a part of our little family here for forever. But I feel like, I'm not too familiar with it before, but do you feel like you are more a buyer's agent, seller's agent, a little bit of both?
I don't know. I'm one of those numbers people because that's what I went to school for. So I have a finance degree. So like everything that I do is based on numbers. I like think in numbers. Mm-hmm. So for this year, it's like almost right down the middle.
Yeah.
Buyers and sellers.
Yeah. It's interesting because, I see, because of my position in the company, like I see sort of where everybody's business is. And I feel like this year, I've noticed it's pretty split for everybody, considering that there's not a lot of inventory. So I think a lot of agents who were predominantly sellers agents have sort of done the little switch a little bit because there's not a lot of sellers out there. So there are a lot of buyers. So representing buyers and being able to close on properties, which is like awesome.
I know.
It's good.
It takes some skills
It takes some skills. Yeah. So if you have an agent who has gotten multiple things under agreement this year, you know that they mean business because they're doing something right.
I'm telling you. And
you're killing it. You're one of our top producing agents this year. So, no spoiler alert.
I try. I tell people there are a lot of realtors out there, but if you're not active in this market, you truly are not. You're not going to know what's going on.
It's interesting that you just said that because something that we, so I had Tracy Grady on Saturday. She's a full-time realtor here at Boston Connect Real Estate with her husband, Jim, making up the Grady team. And something that we had mentioned was, in in sort of the fall and winter months in those markets, so to say, that's where like the serious buyers are. So, there are some sellers that are like, oh, I don't want to put my house on the market in the middle of, winter time when there's snow, which where's the snow? We didn't have any last year.
Don't ask that.
Yeah, don't ask that. I know. Well, Mark bought a plow and it hasn't snowed, so I
Good.
feel like that was the good luck to.
So we owe him a
Sorry
thank
for Mark's
you.
wallet, but but it was
enough.
good for us not having some snow. But it's like the more serious buyers are out there, and I feel like that's the same thing with agents. Like it's the more serious agents that are willing to make that journey out
Yes.
into the wild out there in the middle of the winter months.
That is very true.
I'm a winter baby, so it really does not bother me. It doesn't summer is whatever. I like to
Right.
sit outside with a cocktail. But I'm a winter person. But I feel like the more serious sort of buyers and probably the more serious sellers are out there too in the winter and fall.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like if you're making a move in the wintertime, you're serious because
Yeah.
you've got to tackle the weather on top of that. But yeah, I mean, there's lots of stuff going on in the market right now, so that's kind of why I came up with this topic because I thought it would be fun. Well, I think it's fun.
This is so fun.
I've been excited about this all day, so it's fun to me. But I figured the number one question I always get asked is, how is the market?
Yeah.
And then I kind of get like a frowny face from
Yeah.
people. So
What do you say? So I'm going to be one of those people.
Okay.
So how's the market, Emmy?
I know. Well, see, and then they're usually like, I get like the sad puppy eyes, and I turn it around because
I'm
say,
sad as a
right?
buyer.
Well,
I'm sad.
Yeah, you're sad as a buyer, but as a realtor that's been very fortunate to be busy in this market, like I have no complaints. Yes, I would love to see more inventory because that would help everybody and everyone. So yeah, I get that, but as far as how are things going, for me, well, for my clients, luckily most of them are doing well as well, so that's a good thing. But there's definitely been a lot of changes. There's a lot of misinformation out there, so I figured we'd talk about what's upcoming.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to talk about like what's on the market now, or where do you want to go with this? I feel like this is kind of your show. I'm going to give it to you.
Okay. Well, thank you. Well, for those that are listening, and again, we love questions, so feel free to call us 781-837-4900, or for the shy, you can comment on Facebook. But so I always get asked, how is the market? So right now we are heading into the fall market, as I have dubbed it, though it's not fall until we said the 22nd. But
Yeah.
I have had many sellers tell me to get back to them after Labor Day, and I think that's a good thing. I also have a few buyers that have been out there saying to me, well, it's the end of summer, I'm just going to wait. So typically this time of year, it's not anything new to 2023, but for the fall, this is, I think, when people say either I'm going to do it now or I'm going to wait until the spring.
Yeah.
So the good news for me is that I know of several people that are going to be ready here in the next few weeks to put their homes on the market. We've had some preliminary discussions and they're ready, or they will be after Labor Day. And then I have buyers that, just kind of, just said, talk to me after Labor Day and we'll see where things go. So basically what we're seeing now, I will tell you that even though they did tell me to talk to them after Labor Day, there was a particular property on the market this weekend that I alone got 6 phone calls for.
Yeah.
So, if you see that at this time of year, when this is typically like, a couple of quiet weeks at the end of August, that also tells me that, there are still people out there. There are homes right now, pre-fall market, that are getting multiple offers, and those buyers are definitely out there. We're still seeing an inventory shortage.
Yeah. So when your clients say, oh, get back to me, after Labor Day, what's their reasoning for that? They feel like it's bad timing or their house isn't ready? Like, what is it that you're seeing as a trend for your clients that like just aren't ready to pull the trigger?
Right. Yeah. Good question. So I think it's several things. People trying to enjoy the rest of summer. Usually, if you have a consultation with an experienced realtor like myself, we're typically going to give you a punch list. So a lot of people I have right now are working on those punch lists and, want to enjoy the rest of summer and finish those up. And then I think buyers, that are waiting to see kind of what inventory is coming their way after Labor Day.
Yeah.
I have several buyers right now that they're content with where they are, but they have very certain criteria of what they're looking for. And with interest rates where they are right now, they're willing to buy, but they're waiting for the property that they want. We saw, in the past, 2 years, so to speak, people with lower interest rates being a little bit more willing to be flexible about what they were buying because, they knew that they were getting such a low interest rate and it may not be for forever home. But now I see people being more particular as, they're entitled to be for sure.
Yeah.
So I really think, from the buyer's perspective, they're waiting to see what hits the market. From the seller's perspective, they're wrapping up summer and want to take advantage of that fall market.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't have children, but I would assume that moving at the same time as like kids going back to school might not be the best week.
Yeah, definitely not. I know.
Someone told me that like the kids go back to school this week and I was like, what? What? I'm like, I have no sense of time. Like my cat is a stay-at-home cat. She doesn't go to like daycare or anything. So like I'm not aware of like you're supposed to send things somewhere else. And by things I mean your children. But yeah, I was like, wait, kids go back to school this week? Oh my gosh. Like I keep seeing all these things on Facebook like, oh, this one went back to this school. I'm like, oh my Lord. I don't know if I could do that.
Get ready for school buses in Pembroke tomorrow.
I thought about that, and I think it was Tracy Marino had posted like that her like I don't know, someone was going back to school, and then I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, she drives the bus, and I'm like, oh my gosh, all the buses, the buses are coming back.
So we've got all the road traffic and add in buses tomorrow. Pembroke Connect's gonna be nuts.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I wonder how like all the traffic is gonna go. Well, Matakeesit's done, so the construction of Matakeesit is done, which was interesting to try to get to work. Usually my commute is about 3 minutes unless the geese are crossing, and then it takes 5. But lately it's been taking me 15 minutes.
Yeah. Well, mine's like 1 minute plus or minus turkeys. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because you're even closer. It's funny because when I was looking, and I brought this up before, but when I was I put in an offer on a house in Pembroke, and I said to somebody like, oh yeah, I'm actually going to cut my commute to work in half if I get it. And they're like, how is that even possible? And I'm like, you live even closer.
I do live even closer.
You could walk if you wanted to.
I could, and I have. So anyways, but yeah, so it's definitely been interesting. And, I'm excited for the fall market, and I hope that others are as well. One thing I will say is that I don't know what people know because I'm obviously in it, but there have been so many bidding wars. I mean, we are still dealing with bidding wars, and you've been dealing with bidding wars.
I've been dealing with it.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure. I said this before, but like this last one burned me, and I was not happy. But and I'm sort of at this weird spot where now I've been looking actively for a year, a solid year, and I'm feeling discouraged, and I'm just like, okay, like, no, I'm not being kicked out of where I live, but it's like, what do I do? Like, how much longer do I wait? Like, what do I do? And there's not even anything like on the market that I can just be like, oh, fine, I'll put in an offer on it. And if I get it, great. But I mean, there's this one property, I just don't particularly want to live in the town because it's nothing to do with the town itself. It's just too far.
Right.
And again, my commute is about 5 minutes. That's if the geese are crossing. So to have my commute 35 minutes, it's like, do I really want to do that? But again, there's nothing.
Right.
There's nothing.
There is nothing.
So, and because you have a lot of buyers, I know because I'm like, where am I going to live? I just want to buy somewhere to live.
Well,
Can't I just do this?
And that's one thing. I mean, a lot of the buyers that I'm, getting calls from right now are people who are renting, and they, for whatever reason, either, it's usually one of two things. Either rent is going up exponentially.
Yeah.
And they panic. And I mean, I totally understand. That's scary. Or two, I've actually had a lot of people call me and say, hey, my landlord is going to move back in here.
Interesting.
So,
Maybe because they sold their house and they don't have anywhere to go.
Right. Exactly. So, I mean, I do have people who are renting and up against time frames.
Yeah.
So you got to get a little creative in those situations. And I'm hoping that, we'll see an increase in inventory coming around post Labor Day that will help some of these people out. But some of the biggest struggles that I'm still seeing, and I do think that this will carry into the fall market, is these first time home buyer homes. Like anything in a price point that, could be for a first time home buyer, there's just so many people for that type of home that even when they do come on, they're going to get 20 offers and 19 people are still going to be looking.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And we sort of have two different buyer pools looking at the same type of house. So it's, first time home buyers that are looking for the 2-bedroom ranch bungalow, whatever, but it's also, the generation of buyers that have already sold their big colonials and their big whatever, and they want a smaller home. They're not ready for sort of a different sort of avenue or a different chapter, maybe not even a condo, but like they still want that maintenance of a home, and so they're looking at the same house that a first time home buyer is. So it's a bummer. That's why I'm feeling super discouraged, is because yes, I lost out on this last property to cash, and it was somebody buying it for their kid, and I'm just like,
I know. I get it. I've had buyers, same thing. Losing out to cash is so hard. But, one thing that I noticed, and this ties into the fall market. So I was reading an article today about this, actually, and it was saying that new construction homes are seeing like a whole different ball game of buyers, because new construction before kind of wasn't necessarily entry level. It could have been, but now they're seeing a lot of entry level buyers buying new construction because it's so competitive out there. And with these interest rates, they're getting a brand new home.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've seen that. Boston Connect has developments. We have a new one coming on in Hanson, and I'm super excited about that for the very same reason.
After Labor Day.
Yes, after Labor Day. Do you see?
Do you see the trend?
We have a trend here, folks. So that's something to keep in mind, too. I mean, a lot of people are looking at resale homes, and one way that I think is, a good strategy for buyers out there is see what there is out there for new construction. There are definitely new construction. We have them, we know of them, and they provide a really great opportunity.
Yeah.
And there's typically not bidding wars with those because,
Yeah, I mean, you might get multiple offers on a model home, but, generally, if a lot of the times, a lot of the lots are very similar, so you're not having like a bunch of people going after the same lots, but there are developments where some lots are a lot better than others, so those are going to be the highly desirable ones, and those will go first and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I even thought about new construction at one point, and that was because there was really nothing. And I'm like, okay, I do want something like quirky. I love something with character. And so I'm like, oh, a new construction, very like fine lines and stuff like that. It's just not my style. But I was like, oh, it'll be something.
I know it.
It'll be something. But okay, so I know that we're talking about fall, but like, what are some like maybe even challenges that you see like during the summertime, like that either as a buyer's agent or as a seller's agent that sort of maybe hopefully you can get rid of when moving into the fall, or maybe you don't have any challenges that happen in the summertime.
There's definitely challenges. Well, one thing I'll tell you, and this has been true for a while now, but if you're just entering the market, it kind of comes as a shock, is we're basically still in a situation where you need to sell first to be able to buy. And that really throws people for a loop. And I have a lot of people that have been coming to me that say, due to inflation or, just due to our lifestyle and where we're at, we waited. We've waited a couple of years. We don't really want to wait anymore. We what we thought was going to happen with real estate hasn't happened, and we want to, as Sharon would call it, right size. So basically, they're looking to find something that's a better size for them that gives them the flexibility of what they're looking for. So when you tell them that they need to sell first, the number one concern is, well, where am I going to go?
Right.
So then we have that conversation, and that usually entails, we have a clause that allows you to put your home on the market while shopping for another home, and you can accept an offer, and it's subject to suitable housing.
Yeah.
So I had that discussion 4 times this past weekend. But the answer to your question is, I've had a lot of people who need to sell in order to buy. It's not a great situation to be in, but it's definitely doable. And I think that that's where, if I take that you have to put a lot of trust into your realtor to help you navigate this. But those of us that have kind of got it down to a science.
Yeah.
So if you are in that situation, I've had a lot of people who said, I'm just going to enjoy the summer in my home, and then I'll get back to you after Labor Day. So that's honestly what I've been dealing with. I have probably a list of 5 or 6 people right now who need to sell in order to buy, just because, for those listening, it's just because they can't float 2 homes.
And it's not impossible.
No,
like, that's
it's
the thing. Like, it's not like this. It used to sort of, and I hate saying the norm, but like it used to sort of be like, okay, I'm selling my house and I'm buying another one. Like, that was sort of normal.
Right.
Like,
It was.
That was
now it's
like,
just,
that's what happens.
Right.
Like, and now I feel like there's like this misconception of like, I'm never going to get an offer accepted if I don't, sell my house beforehand and I have to move into someone's basement. Like it's just, that's so extreme. Like, make your offer the best it can possibly be. And if they accept it, they accept it. I mean, I know that Sharon and Mary got an offer accepted recently, and their house their buyers needed to sell their house, and they hadn't even put it on the market yet. But you know what? Their offer was so good,
right,
that the seller accepted a home sale contingency. They put the house it was ready to go. Literally, already had the photos taken, everything. That's how serious these buyers were that now became sellers. Put their house on the market. They got multiple offers, and that was it.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. Like, it is doable. You can't take someone's story and think that that's just how it is, So if you talk to those of us that have been working in it, it is doable. And like you said, it's not like the extreme of living in someone's basement. I mean, yes, there are definitely times where, you might have to get a little creative, but for the most part, there are definitely sellers out there that are willing to accept home sale contingencies.
And, there's somebody, an agent in our office who is selling their own house, and they're doing a lease back. Because yes, they need to move. They already are purchasing something else. They need to move, but coming up with creative verbiage where they'll still sell their house, but do a lease back for 2 months, because that's what makes the most sense for them and their, family. They have small children, and, it just makes sense for them. And they were able to get a buyer that accepted that.
Exactly.
And gave them that.
Exactly.
And that's what they wanted,
Right.
So there are ways to be creative. You just have to have the right agent to come up with it.
Exactly. That made me think this triggered something today, because I was also talking to a different agent about new construction today. But also, she was saying to me that, she had just worked with some clients and they were able to get a really good interest rate because they had asked for a seller credit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing, you'll hear people say, well, sellers, get everything that they want, this, that, or the other. But if you're working with an experienced agent that, has a really good reputation, there are seller credits out there that can be negotiated to help you get a better interest rate. And I think that that's going to come into play this fall as well. And I've even seen that on new construction.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And just being a buyer myself, I'm just like, the interest rates are not coming down for the rest of the year. So if you can get creative with sort of, again, your verbiage and just figuring it out, between your agent and your loan officer to, because even if you offer your max amount budget, you're still going to have to come to the table with some money and look at what your interest rate is going to be. So come up with some creative verbiage where it sort of takes the sting out a little bit and you're still able to afford a house.
Absolutely. So, I mean, that's an option too. And then another thing that, we were talking about with regards to the fall market is that, the people that have been out there that are thinking about selling and also need to buy, there are some creative loan options as well. Mm-hmm. I work with a local lender who actually happens to live here in Pembroke too, and she's been able to help a couple of my clients bridge. They've done a bridge loan, whereas they have enough equity in their current home so that they can float that and their purchase. Mm-hmm. And then that gives them the availability or, the capability of moving out, before they sell their current home. So there's definitely options out there, and it's just kind of finding them and navigating for what you need.
Mm-hmm. So it's after Labor Day where we're getting ready to put our house on the market. What are some of your top tips for sellers to put their house on the market in the fall?
Awesome question. So, I mean, like I said earlier, if you, meet with one of our agents here at Boston Connect, myself included, we often will, walk around your home with you and give you a list. So I always tell people,
bring a notebook.
I know, bring a notebook. So, our job is to, help you with, to market your home as best as possible. So I always say, take down any of the summer stuff, like the pink flamingos and the flip flops.
Do people have pink flamingos everywhere?
I have. I've actually.
You do?
Well, I don't know. I was just talking to my daughter about the fact that she would like to see me, decorate for the holidays more. I mean, I do for Christmas, but I've now been told that I should probably step it up for other holidays.
Well, she probably sees our decorations.
I know. I'm like, well, maybe I do need some pink flamingos. I don't currently have any. But, anything seasonal like that, any of that stuff. I mean, I love all the beachy stuff myself. But, I would take that stuff down and start preparing for fall.
Yeah.
The
I even said this on Saturday. The decorations are very telltale of like what time of year it is. And my suggestion was like keep it sort of neutral, like don't go over the top. Because there was a time, there used to be a time where I would have to beg sellers for us to do open houses because they would be on the market for quite a while. Now, not so much. We don't have to beg people to do open houses, but I remember just seeing, even like maybe every once in a while now, you'll see photos of, properties on the market that have snow on the ground and all this stuff. And we're just like, it's spring, it's summer.
I know.
Like, so that's a telltale that property has been sitting for a while.
Exactly.
And that's how it used to be too. So I just remember like Sharon and Mary used to like redo their photos, or like just take out exterior photos if you could see the snow and stuff and only do interior or whatever. Just, and that was when houses were on the market for a while, but it is like, it's true. Like you'll look and be like, okay, so it's definitely Halloween when this house is.
Well, like
it's definitely Thanksgiving.
I know. One of the things that always sticks out to me, and I get weird about this stuff, but it's the air conditioners in the windows.
Yeah.
That's another one. And I get it. I have air conditioners in my windows, so I'm certainly not judging. But, if we're taking pictures for, fall
I mean,
market
it's immediate. Okay, there's no AC.
Right, exactly. So, things like that, things that you may not notice, take the ACs out of the window, take down the, flip-flop, adornments on the front door, the pink flamingos.
Take down your flip-flops.
I know, right? Exactly. Trying to think of all the summery things because I don't decorate for summer, so I don't know.
So like, you have come up with flip-flops and flamingos as your summer decoration.
Yeah, basically that's where this like irrational stuff is coming from because I really don't know. I've seen some of those people that have, like the little flying things in the yard, those things to say like happy summer. I mean, I love the cheer.
I thought you meant like the blow-up things.
No, not yet. No, but I have seen those, like you said, with the Halloween decorations.
Oh yeah, I feel like they start to come out in the Halloween.
Yeah, they do.
If you put your house on the market, like I don't think this is just a suggestion, take it or leave it, but like maybe don't put those out.
Right. Well, that
don't put those huge.
The worst is when they're deflated.
Oh yeah.
And like the main cover photo for your listing.
And they're like deflated during the day.
Yeah, deflated during the day on the grass. Like, I mean, I get it. I get that you're selling your home in October, but like, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that some people listening are probably like, geez, that's really nitpicky. But I do have people
maybe
that,
someone
like,
will put them in their offers. I want that. I want that skeleton.
I want Frankenstein.
Yeah.
No, but I have people that help for that particular reason. Like if you need help taking out your air conditioners, like I make sure that my clients have people that help them. So it's not like I go
like
around,
your husband.
like my husband. Yes. And we had Anthony on not too long ago from Anthony's Junk Removal. But yeah, I mean, so I'm definitely not coming through and giving you a list and being like, I'll see you when you're done. I'm here to help.
Here's your homework.
Right. But yeah, definitely. So, we need to start thinking about things like curb appeal. This is the time of year when, your gutters need to be cleaned.
Yeah.
And you need to start preparing it. I don't shoot the messenger, but the leaves are going to start coming. So, those are things that you got to plan ahead for and think about if you're going to be putting your home on the market.
Yeah, and I think lighting is definitely a huge thing all year round, really. And you just want to highlight just that light exists in your home. Like, not super dark and dreary. And one of those things that you can do is just either open or take down your even if you have like heavy drapes or like blinds or whatever, like open up the blinds, like take the AC out, like bring in light, turn the lights on. Like, I love going to showings and the lights are already turned on in the entire house. And that's great. Like that, when I know that I'm seeing a property and all the lights are already on, like I know that agent was like, okay, you have a showing tonight. Like they changed their it's not, sometimes it's not the agent going there to turn all the lights off and then they run away and they're like, okay, you have a showing tonight and just make sure you turn the lights on. And I love that. I always turn them off though. Yeah. When I leave.
That is very kind of you.
Yeah.
I've gone into listings, after someone else has shown them and all the lights are on. I'm like, I don't know if they were being courteous or if they weren't.
Yeah.
But.
Well, and the other thing, and I sent out something to the agents yesterday about realtor safety because September is Realtor Safety Month. There are a lot of things that have happened to realtors in this world. So we sort of take September to make sure that all of our agents are well knowledged in, because essentially we're telling people where we are alone when we're doing open houses and stuff, and it can be dangerous. So where was I going with that?
Well, leaving the lights on was before that.
Oh, this is what I do. So even if I'm at a showing, so a private showing, whether I'm just by myself or I'm with another agent that wanted to tag along, and there's an agent that comes up and they're like, oh, I'm the next one. I always put the key back in the lockbox. And I'm always like, okay. And I've only once have gotten like flack from the next agent being like, serious, like you put and I'm like, yes, I don't like, do you have a business card? Like, I don't know that you're an agent.
I do that.
Yeah, I always put I'm like, okay, the key's in the lockbox, because I'm not letting anything happen during my time slot.
Right. Well,
even if it's a minute left in my time slot, I'm like, this is mine.
Put the key back. I know, I do it too. Well, it's professional. So, we're getting the doorbell.
Yeah, we have 10 minutes left.
So, going back to our topic of things for buyers and sellers for this market. So if you are a buyer and let's sound like Melissa, where you're discouraged, you've been looking for a while, this is my little pep talk to you. I would definitely say don't give up.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't give up. I know.
There's a part of me that's like, give up.
No, I know.
But you can't. You can't.
I hear it
you
from
can't.
everyone. Like, I mean, if you can and you want to, that's your choice. But I personally would say don't give up. There are deals out there to be had, believe it or not. There are homes that, for whatever reason are overpriced and are sitting.
Yeah.
And for some reason, that's like the, I don't even know what the analogy is. It's like, what do they call it? The something in the room, like the, whatever that
the ghost in the room.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know. I don't even know what you're trying to say.
I
like
don't
the ghost?
either, clearly.
I think about Halloween.
No, but it's like the thing that nobody wants to talk about. Like there are
the elephant in the room?
Yes, that. Thank you. I'm like,
I like ghosts better.
Yeah, I do too. Well, we're talking about Halloween decorations. But no, like I don't get it. There are homes out there that are sitting and people just automatically assume there's something wrong.
Yeah.
I tell all of my buyers that something wrong could literally be the price.
Yeah.
And if you don't investigate and go to that home, maybe it's not of interest to you for another reason, not just the price, but to me it is always worth investigating. And I have found my clients deals that way.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't the price.Maybe it was just, that it was, maybe it was just the price.
Yeah.
It was overpriced and we got a deal.
I recently saw a property and I was okay with the price before going into it. I'm like, okay, this is where I'm comfortable. And I walked in, I'm like, why doesn't it sound like I gotta see it? Like, I wasn't like totally in love with it, like online. So I was like, I just gotta see it. And when I walked through, I was like, because it's so small.
Right.
Like, it was very similar square footage to the homes that I've been looking at, but the layout made it feel really small, and it had low ceilings.
Yeah.
So you just like felt like you were enclosed in this room, and you're just like, no.
Yeah.
And there's nothing else wrong with it. It's things that, can't be changed. Like, this is the size of the house. Take it or leave it. Right. But in my head, I'm like, for this size, it's overpriced.
Right. Exactly.
And it's been sitting.
Right.
So I'm not the only person feeling that way.
Right.
It reads as a 1-bedroom. you know, when the house has 0 closets, 0 storage, no basement, like, and has 2 tiny bedrooms, it reads as a 1-bedroom.
No, I totally get that.
You know, so yeah, I mean, even if you think my suggestion would be, even if you're not like totally sold on things, like people get catfished all the time, okay?
Yeah.
If you're not sold on something online, just go and see it in person.
I know.
You know?
I know.
And I'm the last person to say, you know, go meet somebody from the internet, but
Right.
you know, go meet a house from the internet and make a
Check it
judgment
out.
on make
Yeah.
it make yourself, because you know, I was totally fine. I was like, I wonder what it is. Like,
Yeah.
I
Well,
wonder
that's
what it
the
is.
thing,
And I'm
like-
like,
Yeah.
it's definitely feels like a 1-bedroom.
Yeah. And I mean, I have been in houses where you were definitely catfished by photos, but I've also been in ones where, you know, my client and I are left staring at each other like, why is this house still in the market? You know, do a home inspection, obviously, and you know, minus a couple small things, you know, we were able to move forward. So that's one piece of advice.
Yeah.
Is look at the home that is sitting.
Yeah.
Another is the seller credit. You know, we talked about it, but if you're scared about interest rates right now and you can make a competitive offer, you know, ask for a seller credit.
Yeah.
You know, that's something else that will help you reduce your monthly mortgage payment. And if you have more questions about that, you're welcome to contact me. You know, we can discuss it further, but I think that's a good, you know, way for buyers in this fall market to kind of help themselves out a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I just from my personal experience, I was surprised with what I was willing to do in
Right.
order to get a house, because a year ago I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. I would never do that. I would never go. But you know, once I came across something that I really, really wanted, I was like, no, I'm capable of this. And I can do this. Like,
Right.
this is what I want. This is what I need. I will do this, this, and this. And, you know, unfortunately it didn't work out, but, you know, it just, I was surprised. So like, I was like, what's it, pigeonholing?
Yeah.
Like I was just like putting myself in this, like, no, this is my hard stop. Like, this is not, blah, blah. And it wasn't until I was like, wait a minute, like, what are some of the things that I really need to do in order to get a house? And
Right.
it's not giving away,
No.
you know, everything under the sun. It's not doing things that make you uncomfortable, but it's like, maybe it is going into the next town over, and
Right.
like maybe it is expanding your little horizons, you know.
Yeah.
And just making a little, like, okay, what if instead of having a full basement, you have a half basement?
Right.
You have a crawl space. You know, a crawl space is fine if you have, you know, other storage in the house. It's like making little adjustments to your wants, you know,
Yeah.
list. And that's what I found myself doing. Because I was like, okay, I'm being stubborn. Like, I'm being a
Yeah.
brat. Like, no,
it's
I don't need
hard.
this.
Yeah.
Like, I really don't. This is my want. This is my need, you know? And now I'm like, okay, I just need a house
Right. So now that is our only need. is
with
a
running
house.
water and electricity.
Sold.
But we only have a couple minutes left. I want to wrap sort of this up. I know we could literally talk about this. I don't even know if we went through half of our agenda, but before we run out of time, give your contact information out one more time to all of our listeners.
Awesome. Thank you. So it's Emmie Flaherty, 781-217-4580. You can call or text me. I know some people don't like the phone. I'm fine with either. And I guess my parting words, because we talked, I think, a little bit more about buyers, but for those sellers out there, I mean, you've probably sick and tired of hearing it, but we are still very tight on inventory. So if you've been thinking about selling, but you are kind of on the fence, or, you know, the scenario I presented earlier about, you know, you want to sell, but you need to buy, and that sounds like a headache, just give us a call.
Yeah.
We would love to help you.
Yeah.
We can help you.
We
so
can help you.
We can do it.
We can do it. I always say, like, you get the question of like, oh, how's the market? I get the question of like, when's the right time to sell? And I always say, the right time to sell is when you're ready.
Right.
You know, there's always going to be buyers. I promise you. I don't like to make promises, but I can promise you that there are always going to be
Always.
buyers. If your house is priced to the condition that it's in, there's a bum for every seat, is what I
There
say.
is.
There's a bum for every seat. There's a buyer for every house.
That is
and
very true.
those are my parting words. But give your contact information out one more time to all of our listeners.
All right. So Emmie Flaherty, 781-217-4580. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram, and you can find me there.
What is it? Emmie Flaherty Realtor? Isn't it?
You know, no, I actually made it Realtor Emmie Flaherty.
Realtor Emmie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I reversed it. Realtor Emmie Flaherty. That's pretty easy to remember.
is.
Even though I said
know.
it backwards.
All right. Either way, I'll come
45
up.
minutes goes pretty quick. But I know that you're signed up for another date. I don't have my calendar in front of me, but Emmie will be back, so don't worry. But if you did not catch her contact information, you can always go to bostonconnect.com. You can listen to any of our past shows or this show over and over and over and over again on Talk Real Estate Roundtable, or you can go to your podcast app and type in Talk Real Estate Roundtable. And we are so cool and famous that you can even type in Emmie Flaherty. And you can type in Melissa Wallace, Sharon McNamara, Boston Connect Real Estate. And we will come up. And you've been on the show twice before, so you mentioned Anthony from Anthony's Junk Removal. He just helped Sharon at their two family. They had some water damage over there, so it got rid of a bunch of stuff in the basement. So you were on a show with him. And then, didn't you do a show with Aaron a couple months ago or something? I don't know.
Samantha came on.
Oh yeah, Samantha. You did a show with
Samantha.
Samantha, which you mentioned. She is the agent. What is she? Mortgage. Yeah. Now
Our mortgage lender.
it's 7:00. I gotta go to bed. But thank you everybody for listening. Emmie, thank you so much for joining me again. BostonConnect.com for all of her contact information, and we hope to see you soon.
Sounds good.
So, yeah. Thanks everybody.
Have a good night.
WATD FM Marshfield, WBMS Brockton. The South Shore's first choice for live team coverage of breaking